Wow! It's Kimba the White Lion! And he's a Transformer! Who'd have guessed? Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. And today's Legacy Evolution figure is one I'm kind of excited to see, since I've been aware of this character for a lot of years, but now finally have a chance to own one of them. This is Lio Prime, as featured in the Beast Wars 2 animated series. Now, the Beast Wars 2 didn't get any sort of a following here in America, and probably really wasn't officially released. A good number of years back, my brother, out of a stroke of luck, happened to find a couple of pirated VHS tapes of many of the episodes from Beast Wars 2 that somehow had gotten their way to America. Probably something that was given out at an anime convention or something, because they did have subtitles, since the series was in Japanese. But in that series, this was called Lio Convoy. In that series, Lio Convoy and a few other Autobots were exploring the various sections of the galaxy when Lio Convoy's personal ship would be shot down over an uninhabited planet. The remaining Autobots and his crew came down to look for him. Since the only life forms on the planet were animals, they copied the various animals. With, of course, their youngest member being upset that he wanted a cool-looking animal, but his primary target ended up getting chased off, and he got stuck with the alternate mode of a Tasmanian devil. Always hilarious. But for a few episodes, they would be seen being aided in their battles against the Decepticons by a white lion. It would be about 3 or 4 episodes later before it would be revealed that Convoy, the one they were looking for, was actually the White Lion. All in all, it was an interesting series, but it's one that's kind of been forgotten about. Probably due to it only really being seen in Japan, and sort of overshadowed by the American Beast Wars, which used CGI animation. Beast Wars 2 used the traditional cel-shaded animation. And as far as I know of, it never got an official release outside of Japan, so if you can somehow find a way to see this series, I recommend checking it out. It is an interesting take. At any rate, this here is our character. You can kind of see he took some inspiration from some of the Beast Wars Megatron, with having the animal head prominently on his shoulder, since Megatron famously had the dinosaur head as his one arm. Whether this was intentional or not is hard to say. But all in all, this is a nice looking figure, especially for one that did not get released outside of Japan. As for accessories, I've got all of his accessories here on the lion mane. So it's nice to have an alternate way to store the weapons. And of course, he can hold all of them in his hands. We'll start by taking a look at the accessories. He's got 2 of these little guns, As you can see, there's nothing really fancy about them. They're just a barrel and a little tiny hand grip. These, unfortunately, will not fit in his hands, so they have to be stored on him elsewhere. And then, of course, up here, we also have 2 of these guns. Of course, the way the barrel is done on these are kind of more science fiction-y in their look. And they have the traditional round post, so they will fit in his hand. It's just a shame that they made them the same color as the lion mane. I mean, yeah, that's supposed to be how it goes, but it also makes it difficult to see them. So if you buy this toy loose, make sure you check it very, very well to make sure it has all of the weapons. As we stated before, this is just one way to store the weapons, by having them all on the lion mane. Of course, you can have him with the 2 guns in his hand, and the 2 with the long tabs you can store elsewhere. They seem to suggest that they can be stored on his back. Or at least one tried to, but I don't see it. But at any rate, they can be stored here on his arms. Attach them to these up here. Right about where the joint is. And there you go. You've got him guns blazing. Which is quite a neat look. Okay, now I see the other method of storing the guns. The other method is that there's these holes right here in this piece on his back. That would be where you could store them. That is, if you can get them pressed in. These fat adult fingers are making it a bit of a chore to get them in. There we go. Got one of them in. Can we get the other one? Well, we'll just say we did. And then these we reattach here to the exposed area on the lion head. And then they just get folded away like that. And then there you'd go. You'd have the weapons all stored. Okay, with all of his weapons out of the way, let's take a look at Lio Prime's articulation. And he has what would you expect for his size. You can turn his head from side to side. And it is on a very slight ball joint, but it really doesn't move that much. His arms can be raised up to the side about so far. And without the shoulder pads, his arm can rotate at the shoulders all the way around. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and it does have a swivel at the bicep. So he has G.I. Joe style battle grip. You can twist him a bit at his hips, but it is a bit stiff. So he isn't going to be dancing much. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a decent thigh cut. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend him at the knee a little more than 90 degrees. So all in all, rather decent articulation for our hero here. Okay, to transform Lio Prime, or Lio Convoy, depending on how you want to look at it. First thing we got to do is we got to turn him around. We take the right shoulder, the lion head, and you're going to extend it outward a bit. And we're going to raise up this piece here on his back a bit. Then we come here to the backs of the arms. And we're going to start to lower out some of the lion paws, so that way we can start to see them. Now we come here to the both shoulders, and you're going to turn them towards the back here, like that. Then, now that we got everything shifted, might have to adjust the arms a bit, because we're going to rotate this section. So that way it moves the lion head above Convoy's head. And brings this piece that'll have the tail section down to his backside. Now, of course, now that we've done that, we can come to the front. Get his arms straightened out a bit. And then we're going to shift them to help open up the chest cavity. As you saw there, it started to open up. Shifting the arms kind of helps open it a bit, especially if you don't have some good fingernails. Once we've done that, we can lower his head inside. Then, of course, now that his head is inside, this whole section comes free and gets folded down. Stay still for a second while we turn the instructions over. Once we've done that, we're going to take this piece, we're going to rotate it. So now that it's got the head, the robot head on top, and then naturally we will close it back up. So now you got a solid belly. Now turning things around again. Kind of see what they're trying to get us to do with the legs. No more with the arms, it's more to fold up his fists. Get back here and get the fists folded up so they're now out of our way. We come back here to the front because we're going to shift these chest panels so they're now pointing at us. And then kind of shift the arms upwards a bit. Because now we're going to raise up the shoulders like so. Now with the shoulders raised, we kind of stretch out the lion legs, get them all out and extended. And kind of get them ready to be rotated around a bit. At the shoulder. As I did say, he was going to be a challenge. And he certainly is. And then we're going to bring them in, because as you can see here, there's a little hole right here about the wrist, and they will connect to a little tab just inside the lion's mane. So be prepared to do a fair amount of shifting to get them in there. Make sure to make use of all the available joints. There we go. Got the one in. Thought so. Doesn't look like we did. It's always the fun thing about many of these new Transformers. They are a chore to connect up. There we go. Got the one in. I'm going to hold it. Well, I hope to try to get the other arm in. And naturally the one would pop free. Hold on a moment, I'm going to stop the camera while I fight with it. Okay, took a fair amount of effort and a little reconfiguring of the arms, since the shoulder panel's got to go all the way up. So I ended up rotating them at the shoulder so that it could bend inwards, and then rotate them at the bicep again so that the arms would be in the right position. So there we go. After a little bit of effort and a couple of worn out thumbs, we are now in the right position where we're supposed to be. Or we're going to fake it. The next step would then be to take the chest panels and bring them together to close it up and hide all this mess. And then we come back up here and kind of make sure that the main portions on the arms are folded down. Well, they seem to want them folded outward, but we'll do that real quick. I guess that's so we can have it ready for the guns or something. But alright, once we've done that, basically gotta bring down the legs. As you can see here at the shoulder panels, there's a post, and it should connect to that hole inside. There we go. Got those in. That went a little bit better. And then, of course, rotate. I can see a part of the reason why one of the things popped free on me. There we go, that's better. Now that we got that, we got the front end almost done. We now come back here to the back side. Turn the legs at the thigh. So we now got the lion feet pointing upwards. Then we kind of scoot them up at the knee. Like that. Then we come down here to the ankle. Turn the legs around. That way they will be in position. Of course, now that we've done that, we need to fold in the heels of the robot feet. And then we can shift them at the hips so they go down. And now we start working in the back pieces. Starting with this one up here that has the mane. Don't forget as well, while we're in here, to rotate out the tail. So I want us to work that into position, and then we can get the midsection attached in. Fold down the one portion of the mane here at the front. Get these out to the sides a little bit. And then there we have it. A mostly white lion. Of course, naturally, you will have articulation at the various elbows. And you can also open his mouth a bit, so he can give us some words of wisdom, as you would expect somebody like Optimus Prime to do. Now, of course, to get him into attack mode, we would fold these bits of the mane out in front. And then there's a section of it here that folds outward. Folds out both pieces at the same time. Convenient. And then the guns with the straight tab should connect down here on the lower bits of the mane. And the ones with the regular tab attach on top. And then there you have it. He's ready to unleash his most devastating attack of all. Kind of looks a little wild, doesn't it? Alright, so we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Lio Prime? Well, the toy is a little complicated to transform, since trying to get those arms into the position under the head was a bit trying. I haven't had that much of a good thumb workout since my last time playing video games. But I do like the fact that they have brought in a character from a forgotten series back into the mainstream with this new toy line. It helps expose the fans to characters they are not aware of, or just brings something back that has long been forgotten. The Beast Wars 2 era, while being relatively small, and did have its own share of copied toys, it is still a big part of the Transformer lore, as it has a major component that inspired the creation of another character. That toy has yet to be released, but when it is, we will show it off here, and we'll explain its connections. And that concludes my review of the Legacy Evolution version of Lio Prime. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please do remember that if you like the content we feature on this channel, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.